Voters heading to the polls right now in Georgia in a runoff election that will determine who controls the U.S. Senate as another battle brews in Washington. Local cases on the rise. Now, officials in Carlsbad will be voting on stricter enforcement of a number of public health orders, those measures, and what businesses are saying. And what state leaders say is causing delays in vaccinations and how dentists could soon start to help. ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Virginia Cha. We start with the big national story unfolding right now. People heading to the polls in Georgia for a pair of runoff races that will have major ramifications for the U.S. Senate and President-elect Joe Biden. That is coming on the heels of the phone call in which the president is heard pushing Georgia's Secretary of State to overturn the November results. Meanwhile, members of Congress have stated they plan to object to Biden's win. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze has the details.
Georgia voters heading to the polls in a high-stakes vote that will decide the balance of power in the U.S. Senate.
It sounds overdramatic to say that everything's on the line, but it is.
It's important for my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren.
For President-elect Joe Biden, the results will likely determine how successful his administration will be in getting its agenda passed through Congress. Democratic challengers Raphael Warnock and Jon Ossoff both need to win to flip control of the Senate. That would bring the chamber to a 50-50 split, with Vice President-elect Kamala Harris serving as the tie-breaking vote.
The power is literally in your hands. Unlike any time in my career, one state.
President Trump also campaigning in Georgia Monday for the two Republican incumbent senators Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue. But the president spent much of his rally falsely claiming he won the November election and attacking the state's top elected officials.
And I'm going to be campaigning against your governor and your crazy Secretary of State.
His comments coming a day after the release of audio of a stunning phone call where the president is heard pushing Georgia's Secretary of State to reverse Biden's win in the state by finding votes for Trump.
All I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes.
The president's repeated attacks on the integrity of the election resonating with some Georgia voters.
We cannot trust any of these results.
That worries GOP leaders in Georgia and Washington, who fear mistrust of the election process will suppress voter turnout.
The president's legal team, from our point of view, intentionally misled the state Senate, voters, and the people of the United States about this.
The polls close here at 7 p.m., but both races are expected to be so tight it's unlikely we'll get final results tonight. Elizabeth Schulze, ABC News, Atlanta.
A lot going on in national politics this morning. We invite you to stay tuned because at 11:30 we're going to be joined by a political scientist from UCSD who will break things down further and explain what exactly is going to happen on Capitol Hill tomorrow. Well, in just a matter of hours, we could be learning how Carlsbad plans to crack down on businesses openly defying the county's stay-at-home orders. ABC 10 News anchor Mary McKenzie spoke to the attorney representing some of those businesses and to one of the city council members who will be deciding what to do about them.
The Carlsbad City Council will meet later today to decide what to do about a number of businesses in the city that continue to stay open despite public health orders.
Take a look at the Costco's and the Targets and the big box stores. Take a look at air travel. Take a look at in-home socializing. Those are the things that are really causing the spread. So don't pick on our restaurants, gyms, and salons.
Michael Curran is the attorney for more than 200 restaurants, gyms, and salons primarily, many of which are staying open, he says, for survival. He calls their defiance a peaceful protest against the orders and says he's not looking to go to court. For now, Carlsbad police have been opting for education over enforcement, trying to get businesses to comply.
What we've seen up in the city of Carlsbad so far, which we've really appreciated, is Carlsbad police have pretty much come in and said, well, you're aware of these orders. You're supposed to be following them, but we see that you're not. We see that you're in the midst of a peaceful protest. Here's a box of masks. Have a nice day.
But that could change today. Councilmember Corey Schumacher is proposing a new order that would add teeth to enforcement, making each violation a cumulative administrative citation, starting with warnings, then $100, $200, and $500 fines. And now that they have a 5-member council in the city, she thinks they'll send a clear message today. She says it's time. There are 28 cease and desist orders that have been issued by the county in her district alone, she says.
This is really about getting to a point where with a 5-member council, we can give very clear direction on what we expect out of our staff and what we expect from our community members when it comes to taking care of each other during a public health crisis.
The meeting today is at 3 o'clock in Carlsbad. Mary McKenzie, ABC 10 News.
The council is also voting today on a plan to enforce wearing masks along the Carlsbad boardwalks and seawall. We will let you know how those votes go. You know, for weeks now, we have been seeing healthcare workers and nursing home residents being vaccinated. So who goes next? Tomorrow, a state panel will meet to decide who will fall under the so-called 1B group. 1B would be next in line to be vaccinated once California starts moving down the priority list. Now, the CDC recommends frontline essential workers and people 75 or older to be in that next phase. Now, that is coming as concerns grow about how slowly the vaccine is being administered across our state. California has received nearly 1.3 million vaccine doses, but so far has administered fewer than 500,000. The governor says the state is working to get a better tally of how many medical workers plan to take the vaccine so they can adjust accordingly. State officials say communication needs to improve.
It's gone too slowly, I know, for many of us, all of us, I think. We want to see 100% of what's received immediately administered in people's arms.
One part of the solution, California is looking to set up more sites where they can deliver those doses, including dental offices. Officials say dentists could be enlisted and trained to administer the vaccines. Now, beyond that, vaccine production is also a concern. But right now, federal regulators say they are not endorsing changing dosing schedules. Experts and governments around the world, including here in the U.S., have been talking about possibly altering the schedules, doing things like giving younger people half doses or giving more people the first dose and extending their wait for the second dose. The FDA, though, saying they don't advise doing that because there's not enough evidence to suggest such measures would be effective. Whereas clinical trials show both Pfizer and Moderna's vaccines given on time in 2 doses can be up to 95% effective. And we have an update this morning on the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. The company says their trials are on track and that they should be able to determine if their COVID-19 vaccine is safe and provides protection against the virus. Now, this vaccine is a single-dose shot, unlike those from Moderna and Pfizer. Johnson & Johnson says they're hoping to have the data ready by the end of this month to submit for FDA emergency use authorization in February. Well, starting this evening, drivers can now use a portion of the brand new West Mission Bay Bridge that is replacing the old one built in the 1950s. ABC 10 News reporter Marie Coronel shows us what's next in this $110 million project.
Crews started working on the new West Mission Bay Bridge in the summer of 2018. And now, nearly 3 years later, the project is halfway finished. With the cutting of ribbon, Mayor Todd Gloria and Council President Jennifer Campbell unveiled what the new West Mission Bay Bridge looks like. Though the project isn't completed, motorists will be allowed to drive on the finished portion starting Tuesday evening. Caltrans officials say the old bridge needed to be replaced because of the heavy volume of daily traffic. Once the project is finished, there will be 2 new parallel bridge structures with 3 lanes going in each direction, north and south. There will also be a bike path on both bridges, catering to bicyclists and pedestrians. The roadway will also be widened along Sports Arena Boulevard, West Mission Bay Drive, and the westbound I-8 off-ramp. San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria says this brand new bridge will make it easier for San Diegans to get around, whether it's by car or bike.
Many of us are working from home now, but as we return to the office and more commuters hit the road, this bridge and the second bridge to come will help alleviate traffic and make your commute safer and faster through this busy and important corridor in our city.
Once the old bridge is demolished, Mayor Gloria says the material will be recycled and reused for other projects. The project is expected to be completed in 2022. Marie Cornell, ABC 10 News.
Two neighbors being called heroes after helping a person out of this burning home in Eastlake. Now, this is all that remains of that home. One person inside escaped on their own. A second person, though, couldn't get out. That's when those two neighbors rushed in to help. 3 people taken to a hospital for smoke inhalation. That includes both residents and one of the Good Samaritans. The cause of that fire is under investigation.